What's up guys, and welcome back. Sony has a very disappointingly just revealed PlayStation 5 Pro, and the reason why I'm saying it's very disappointing is because whatever they revealed, it's absolutely not worth it. The kind of price that Sony just asked for this console is out of this world, and let me just explain what's going on with the entire situation here. Now, if you go down to their official Twitter account, they've actually said all the details that we're going to be getting about this console. Now, the first thing that they improved on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, this is basically how the console looks like, and you know, the only difference we see is that there are some black stripes in between. Not much of a difference here, and then you have a brand new stand as well. Now, there's a very big catch with all of this stuff, and as you can see, this is basically how it looks from all the sites. It's pretty much just the PS5 with just a couple of stripes, and that's pretty much it. It's PS5 Pro now. And the worst part of all is that this is going to be priced at $700. $700. Are you even out of your mind, Sony? Because what they're giving for $700 at this price point is a larger GPU, which is basically just going to very slightly improve the performance of your PS5 already. So if you're playing games at 60 FPS at a performance mode, now you're going to be able to play the same game at fidelity mode with 60 FPS. And there's literally no other changes. That is pretty much it. There's literally no other changes. And they've also added in something called as AI-driven upscaling, which is pretty much just the DLSS mode, which we already have on the NVIDIA GPUs, where the AI performs in order to, you know, make the pixelated stuff seem much more smoother. So that's basically what it is. And they've said that we have some advanced ray tracing, which I think it's complete bullshit, to be honest. There is no advanced stuff. It's pretty much the same. You know, it's just going to look slightly better, or maybe not even slightly better. The only difference that we're going to be getting is 60 FPS at 4K resolution. That's pretty much it. And that's all PS5 Pro is. And Sony decided that they need to increase the price and go all the way to $700 USD. And this comes before the taxation. So let's say, for example, you're taxing on this and adding in all that stuff. So most probably the retail price for this console, so if you add in taxes and all that stuff, depending on which country you live in, it could go all the way up to $900 for just 60 FPS. Is that ridiculous? Yes, and the worst part is that you're not even going to be getting this stand. Just keep this in mind. Look at this. They say vertical stand sold separately. So you're not even going to get this stand in the box of the console. So if you already bought PS5, you know that, you know, console got a stand in itself. But now for the PS5 Pro, not only is the price increased ridiculously, you also don't get a stand, which is absolutely nut breaker at this point. People are very, very angry at what Sony has been doing so far, and it just seems like, you know, they've only upgraded some very minor stuff. And the worst part of all is that you're not going to be getting a disc version at this price. Can you believe it? It's just going to be a digital version. Sony completely dished off the disc, and that's one of the worst decisions ever. I'm just so mad, man, honestly. I really was looking forward to PS5 Pro, but right now it just seems like it's not even worth it. I mean, I've got so many PS5 games and PS4 games that's lined up on my disc editions. What am I supposed to do with all those games? Are you basically just saying that all of those games that I already own in physical form is just going to get bricked? That I'm not supposed to play any of those games and I'm supposed to repurchase those games digitally? It is absolute disaster. None of them are happy, and I don't think this console is going to sell well. And it's a huge breaker for Sony. And I think they're just going to learn it the hard way, just like what they did with Concord. You know, the game was an absolute failure. And that's because Sony is making some terrible decisions. And I think they've done yet another terrible decision. Very expensive, not worth it. And stands are sold completely separately, so you need to probably pay like $30 extra for the stand. And apart from that, you also need to buy a PlayStation Plus subscription, which they've also increased the price to. And on top of that, you also need to throw away all the physical editions of the game you have, because it's not going to work on the digital PS5 Pro anymore. For the upgrade that they've given, I would honestly say it's worth it for $700. It's still a lot of price, but still, I would say it's kind of worth it. Digital version, I am so freaking disappointed, man. What the hell is wrong with Sony? just because GTA 6 is coming up next year. And I was thinking, it's the perfect time to get like the PS5 Pro and, just rock in all of my already existing physical games and whatnot. I mean, if they did price it at $700 for like a physical edition, if you had like a Blu-ray disc in there, I would honestly suggest, yes, that's worth it, okay? If you go down to their official website, you can actually see that they've pretty much just mentioned that the PS5 Pro is available as a disc-less console with an option to purchase the currently available disk drive for PS5 separately. So you need to buy like an additional disk drive and then connect it with an USB-C or USB 3.0 cable, and that's how you're going to use the disk. That's just, so stupid, man. Honestly, it's one of the most stupidest decisions ever. That's not even cost-cutting because you've just ridiculously increased the price of the console. So yeah, it's going to be releasing on November 7th. You can pre-order on September 26th, which is just a couple weeks from now. So the pre-orders are going to go live on September 26th on all the retail stores. So if you go down to the official Sony reveal, they kind of just showed off a couple of things that they're bringing in for the console.
The GPU much larger and increase the speed of the memory it uses.
67% faster in terms of a GPU unit. Now, faster doesn't mean that, the games are going to look magically very good on the PS5 Pro. It's just that, you're going to get slightly improved performance in terms of frames per second. Probably from 30 FPS, some games would naturally get stuck at 50 to 60. It might drop. We don't know. That's only going to be found out in terms of how the testing goes. Usually, the companies, they always claim higher FPS than what it's basically going to give in terms of live test. And I think that's basically what Sony's doing here. And 28% faster RAM.
The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster.
So basically 45% is the upgrade that they've done so far. That's the final one.
Second,
and they've also shown off a couple of footage of them running The Last of Us Part 2 on the PlayStation 5 with fidelity mode, and then Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. And here you can clearly see the difference. This is the only difference that you're going to find. So basically all the visuals and everything, it looks exactly the same. If you're running PS5 on fidelity mode, that's exactly how it's going to look on the PS5 Pro as well.
PS5, which is only
difference is, as you can see, it's a little bit more smoother with 60 FPS.
Running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier.
Don't stop! We gotta lose.
This goal,
and that's pretty much it. And honestly, I don't know. Do you guys think that it's worth it? It's one of the worst marketing that Sony has decided to do, and I think they're definitely going to learn it. And when people absolutely don't pre-order or buy this console, that is when they're going to learn it, man. Let me know in the comments, are you guys going to pre-order this new console, or will you just stick to the PS5? I think I'm just going to wait for it, because usually when the first batch of consoles that's like produced that comes out, never buy them. Because they always have faults, they always have, things to fix. So never ever buy the first batch. Always wait for Sony to, realize what kind of things they've messed up. So you're basically just paying $800. Like, look at this, like 800 euros is how much that costs. Like, that's insane, dude. So you're paying so much in order to just beta test like the first batch, because most probably, 90% of the time, not even 90, 99% of the time, most of the consoles they usually release on the first batch, it always ends up having a lot of issues, and then they see what players have to say and what kind of feedback they get, and then they decide to fix those stuff, and they re-release the console once again. So always wait for it. Don't be in a rush if you already own the PS5. I think this purchase, it's only worth it for those guys who don't have a PS5 already, and it's going to be like a first purchase. That's only when it's going to be worth it. But as of now, I would love to know your opinions down below in the comments. Let me know, what do you guys think? And yeah, with that being said, if you guys do agree with me that PlayStation is going to learn it the hard way, as they did with Concord with the PS5 Pro's pricing, drop a like on this video. Show your support. Maybe, Sony could decide to reduce the price. You never know, based on what community feedbacks are. But yeah, if you think that's like a ridiculous decision, drop a like, and also subscribe if you guys want to stay tuned with all the latest updates on all the gamings and stuff. So yeah, with that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.